Main accounting formulas. Introduction. During this lesson, we will be discussing about the following main accounting formulas: accounting equation and profit formula. Today we will be discussing about the accounting equation. Accounting equation. The assets and the ownership of those assets of a business are shown in accounting records of a business. All assets of a business should belong to some party. Therefore, assets of a business should be equal to the total ownership of those assets. Accounting equation represents the relationship between the assets, liabilities, and owner's equity, capital of a business. You learn about assets, liabilities, and capital during the fifth lesson. So you know what are assets and what are liabilities. You should be able to identify what are the assets and what are the liabilities. Then only you can apply into the accounting equation. The basic accounting equation. This shows the basic accounting equation. Assets equal to liabilities plus stockholders' equity or else shareholders' equity. Assets means economic resources owned by a business. Liabilities means the financial obligations or debts of a business. Stockholders' equity means owners' claims on the assets of a business. Construction of accounting equation. If all assets are financed by the owner of the business, the accounting equation can be presented as follows. If all the assets are financed by the owner, this is the way we construct the accounting equation. Assets equal to equity. For example, Gayani started a business investing $50,000 in cash. Here, assets cash of the business is equal to 50,000 and this total amount belongs to the owner, right? So, according to this is the way we construct the accounting equation. Assets equal to equation. Assets, when she start the business, she invests $50,000 in cash. So cash will be assets, arise from 50,000, and equity capital also arise from $50,000. When a business expands, the resources invested by owners would not be adequate. Therefore, the business will have to obtain resources from external parties. When the business borrows money, liabilities arise. External parties means you can borrow from the others. When there are liabilities in the business, a part of its assets belong to debt holders. Remaining of the assets belong to owners. In such a situation, accounting equation can be built as follows. Assets equal to equity plus liabilities. For example, Gayani obtained a bank loan $10,000. So she is obtaining a bank loan from the bank $10,000. Right? So assets of Gayani's business are increased by 10,000 cash. She is obtaining a bank loan. She received 10,000 cash. On the other hand, it increased the liability. It's a bank loan. Bank loan is a liability of the business by $10,000. So assets increased by $10,000 and liabilities increased by $10,000. For any business to start their operations, they will need resources: cash, machines, buildings, raw materials, goods to sell. The owner of the company cannot supply all the resources to start a business. So, in order to gather the resources to start and to continue a business, the owner himself must invest, and for the thing he doesn't have enough cash, he must borrow from the other parties as long-term or short-term liabilities. If sometimes owners cannot supply all the resources to start a business by himself, so he or she has to borrow from somebody, from the other parties. So it can be as a long term or short term. It will be a liability. So in simple terms, the resources, assets in a business is gained through the owner's investment and the other liabilities. Thus, the accounting equation was formed below. Now look at the accounting equation. The resources of the company, they are called assets. The assets gained through owners' investments. Owners can invest, they are called capital, and the things borrowed from the other parties, they are called liabilities. Okay? Note that the accounting equation can be also structured as follow, right? So if you want to find the liabilities, you can subtract from assets the owner's equity, or if you want to find the owner's equity from assets, you can subtract the liabilities. How do business transactions affect the accounting equation? What do you mean by business transactions or accounting transactions? When a business carries out its activities, it requires to exchange resources with various parties. For example, when a business purchases goods on cash basis, cash and goods are exchanged between the business and the supplier. Accordingly, a transaction can be identified as an exchange of resources between a business and other parties. In a business, there can be various types of transactions. Among those transactions, only the transactions which can be measured in terms of money are considered in accounting. So when you are talking about accounting, we take only the transactions which can be measured using money, terms of money. Okay, that you have to keep in your mind. There can be so many business transactions, but we take only the transaction which can be measured in terms of money. The value of assets, liabilities, and equity are changing due to business transactions. Accordingly, the accounting equation changes due to the business transactions. Okay, now we'll move to the example. Now we are going to learn how to record transactions under accounting equation. Now you know what is accounting equation. If they have given some business transactions like this, you should be able to know how to apply these transactions in an accounting equation. So you should know what are assets and what are capitals and what are liabilities, since we have learned and we have recognized them very well also. So now we are going to apply the things that we have learned into the accounting equation. As you prepare the accounting equations, every transaction must be recorded at least 2 times. Now this you have to keep it in your mind very well. Each and every transaction you have to record it at least 2 times. Right? When you are doing one by one, you will get an idea. Right? Now we'll move to the example 1a. Owner invested $8,000 as capital. Right? Now capital, you know, it is equity. The money used to invest is called capital and is classified under owner's equity. Since cash was brought into the business, the assets will also increase. So, assets increased from $8,000 and capital also increased from $8,000. Okay. B. Purchased a computer for $100,000. They purchased a new asset, that is a computer, for $100,000 and paid cash. This transaction will affect to increase one asset and decrease another asset of the business by $100,000 since paid cash. Right? Assets increase from $100,000 as computer. We purchased a computer and decrease from $100,000 since from cash. C. Obtain a bank loan $50,000. Now you know bank loan is a liability. Right? A loan is a liability. Since it is cash that was borrowed, the asset called cash will increase by $50,000. The liability called bank loan will increase by $50,000. Right? When you obtain a bank loan, cash will increase by $50,000 and it's a bank loan is a liability, so liability is also increased from $50,000. D. Selling a stock worth $10,000. When goods were sold, the business reduced assets called inventory. Since they were sold on cash, again another asset arises. This transaction will affect to increase one asset and decrease another asset of the business by $10,000. Right? When you sell a stock, what do you get? You get cash for $10,000, and when you sell the stock, whatever the stock you have decrease from $10,000 inventory. E. Deposited $5,000 in the bank. Depositing money to the bank will reduce their figure by $5,000 under assets, and the other asset called bank will increase by $5,000. Bank will increase by $5,000 and cash will decrease by $5,000. F. Paid creditors $20,000. Paying creditors will reduce their figure by $20,000 under liabilities. Creditors goes under liabilities. Since they were paid by cash, the asset called cash will reduce by $20,000. Right? They paid $20,000 for creditors. So creditors decrease $20,000 and cash also will decrease $20,000. G. Purchase stocks $30,000. When goods were bought, the business got another asset called inventory. Since they were bought on cash, again another asset reduced. This transaction will affect to increase one asset and decrease another asset of the business by $30,000. When you purchase stock, inventory will increase by $30,000, and when you are purchasing by cash, cash will decrease by $30,000. Right? Above I have solved the questions individually. Now I solved one by one individually for you to make it understand. But you must present or solve the question as follow using this accounting equation, you have to present it like this. Each and every transaction will have at least two effects on the accounting equation. You can see two effects are there. If the assets is increasing, the other side capital is also increasing. If only the assets are increasing and decreasing, same, like if it is increased, the other side it decrease. So the accounting equation is balanced. After these effects have been recorded, accounting equation must be balanced. You can see the accounting equation is balancing to assets $870,000, and when you add capital and liabilities together, it will also come $870,000. If it does not balance, that means there's a mistake in your recording. So you have to check the recordings again. Now you can see the example that the accounting equation is balanced. Now you can start doing the exercise, and we will discuss the answers in next week. So you try your best to do it alone. If there's any questions or if you have any problem, we will try to solve it next week. So my dear children, please start studying for the second term evaluation. You know that you missed the second term evaluation, but we are going to plan to have an online evaluation based on first term and second term lessons, right? Anyway, you get ready for the evaluation. It may be an online session, right? So you have to study your first term and second term lessons. I will post the areas that you should go through. Then easy for you to do your studies. See you all on next week. May God bless you. Have a nice day.